Hey, everybody, Patrick Verino here. Welcome to day 4 of the Leadership Bridge Awareness Week. And I want to say thank you if you've been here all along for all days. Thank you so much. I am the author of the new book, The Leadership Bridge, How to Engage Your Employees and Drive Organizational Excellence. I'm also the president of Emory Leadership Group, and I also host a podcast called Learning from Leaders that you can probably see right there. And I'm going to start off by being honest with you in that about a week ago, I really had a bout, I would guess, of imposter syndrome, where I was questioning myself, am I even qualified to write this book? And it was right before going to bed. And, as I get closer to launching this, I was really thinking that. And I had to go back and really look at a lot of the testimonials that I've had, people that have written in, clients of mine, both ones that I've asked for testimonials from the work we've done, but also unsolicited ones of individuals that I've worked with, teams that I've worked with that have found benefit to what I've put together here. And that really is what got me over that hump of I am qualified to write this, and I have put so much and invested so much into this. And this process to me has been about looking at leadership oftentimes from the standpoint of the follower. Because let's face it, if you don't have people that are following the direction you're going in, then you're not a leader. You might have a title. People might have to go where you're asking them to go because they're afraid if they don't, they'll lose their job or be retaliated against in other ways. But that's not leading. And this really is about building bridges. That's really what we do here, is most effectively one-on-one. When you're working with each individual, that is a separate bridge. And that's what this process is about. So we started off on day 1 talking about our internal bridge. How do we build that? Because if I'm not in a good place myself, I can't be there for other people. And I think, having been through several large organizational leadership development programs when I was employed in the biotech industry, that was always one of the things that I had noticed was lacking. There wasn't a lot of time spent on people learning internally what drove them, and really, I think what some of the issues that needed to be dealt with internally. Because if I'm not in a good place myself, as I said, you can't be there for other people. It's very difficult to be, or at least not as effectively as you need to be. So that's the first part of the bridge. In the book, the next phase of this, we talk about building bridges with others, and that's where we are today. So we talked about congruence, the need to demonstrate that, alignment, walking the talk. And then we talked about appreciation, or one form of appreciation, and that's recognizing people for what they're doing and how important that is to do it on a consistent, sincere, and regular basis. And today, the cable that we're going to be talking about in this cables model that really is representative of building bridges is around belongingness and how important that is. And I'm going to talk about it from the standpoint of psychological safety for this. And we hear a lot about psychological safety today, right now, but if you go back, you can look, the concept has been researched since the 60s. In the importance of psychological safety and the need that we have for this as organizations. And I've been thinking about that a lot, especially lately with this great resignation that we continue to hear about. And the number of people, the record number of people that are leaving their jobs and going other places or retiring, whatever they might be doing, starting their own businesses. My belief anyways is a lot of this comes down to belongingness. Money's certainly important. I don't disagree with that. But if we look at a lot of the research by Gallup, we would see that most often people leave an organization because of who they report to, 70% of the time. And if that's the case, to me, this is about belonging. This is about creating an environment where people want to show up. They enjoy the person that they work for, and maybe they could make more money going somewhere else, but the community, the culture that they're in is such that they don't want to do that. They're willing to bypass a little bit of money. Now, again, I think there's got to be some balance here, right? You can't work for a company that is completely underpaying as it relates to other people in that industry, other organizations in that industry. But I'm always reminded of a book that was written by Dan Pink called Drive, and it looked at what are the things that motivate people. And money was not on the list. The top three were autonomy, um, purpose, and development. Those were the three: autonomy, purpose, right? What am I doing? And then development. Do I have an opportunity to grow, to develop here? As leaders, I think that's the responsibility that we have in terms of creating that environment. And as a leader, it's my job to create an environment where people feel as though they belong. And a lot of times that will come through psychological safety. And psychological safety is often looked at in terms of, if you think about teams, if I'm on a team, do I have the ability to speak up, to make suggestions, to identify challenges or problems in current systems that we might be operating in to improve that? And if I feel for any reason that I'm not able to do that, it lowers the level of psychological safety we have. So maybe I'm in a group and I watch somebody make a suggestion about a new way to do a process. And I see two other people roll their eyes when the person says it. Well, again, that to me says this is probably not a safe environment to be able to bring up suggestions or recommendations on new ways to do things. Be careful on that, right? That's what it tells me. Or maybe I see somebody else that pushed on something that they felt needed to be addressed, and they were retaliated against. Maybe it's, I know Jim brought this up last week, and I don't see him at the table anymore. What happened to Jim? It sets the tone for us of this is not what we do here. We go along with what we're told, and we don't question things. The leader has such an important role here that I need to, as that leader, create an environment where people feel as though there is a psychologically safe environment, that maybe I ask people for their opinions, and I push people to challenge what we're doing. I remember one group that I was working with, it was very difficult for people to feel as though they could speak up in front of the group. And what I worked on with this group was to say, let's designate somebody to be that person that brings up issues each week. We called this the devil's advocate position. So each week when they had their meetings, somebody had the role of the devil's advocate. And the whole purpose of this was this person had permission to be able to raise questions in front of the group. That was their job. They had to do this. And it provided that opportunity for people to start feeling comfortable that they could raise questions and concerns and issues to help the organization to grow. When we don't have belonging, when we don't have a sense of psychological safety, our bridges are weakened because we don't really push the issues that need to be pushed. And when we don't do that, again, we're going to experience a weakness in the organization. So I hope you've found this behavior in cables valuable. I'd ask you to challenge yourself. How are you doing in this cable? Do you create a sense of belonging? Do you encourage people to push back and to have opinions on things or challenge the way things are done? And the more that you're able to do this,